Hi, welcome to the coaching game. I'm Laurie Lawson, and tonight my guest is longtime friend and co-worker, or cohort, I guess, Laura Thompson. Hey, Laura, how you doing?
Hey Lori, it's so nice to see you.
I
And
know. We just got to see each other for since a long, long time, a couple of months ago or something like that. And it's like, oh, okay, let's do a show because Laura has a lovely, colorful new book out called The Culture of Values. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Laura is a longtime executive coach, and what do you call yourself? A strategic communication expert? What is that title you got there?
yeah, strategic communications advisor,
Oh, okay.
because I had worked in communications and public relations
Mm.
before coaching, and I was surprised how much of it I brought into the coaching.
Yeah, really, yeah. Oh, it's
Because
usually the
everything
other
is
way
about,
around. Yeah. It's
yeah,
usually whatever you're doing, you bring coaching into it. I would love that. So you brought your communication stuff into your coaching. Oh, I want to talk about that. But yeah, tell me first, what was the impetus for you writing A Culture on Values? I think it's so timely. I think we're slowly losing our values or they're getting scattered to the wind. So I think it's a perfect timing. What made you say, okay, I'm going to write this book now?
I think, over the past, I don't know how many years, but at least the past 10 years, I just kept feeling that values were missing.
Mm,
And it was at the corporate level, the governmental level, even families. And it's like our society is sort of disintegrating
mhm,
because of a lack of values. And that was really the impetus behind the writing of the book and incorporating, because when you know your values, it actually becomes a strong foundation for your personal and professional life. It grounds you and it helps you to make effective decisions because you'll rely on your value system, and that makes you calm to make wise decisions versus like reacting.
mm,
uh, so it gets you into that response mode that,
yeah.
coaches know about and psychologists. It's whether you're in the flight, freeze, uh, what was the other one? I can't remember.
Flight or flight, fight or
Flight?
flight.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
the one that neither one of us can say.
Right, right.
It's the
When the
one.
amygdala gets hijacked. Yes, I
Yeah.
think it's a nice centering and grounding foundation for
Yeah.
everyone. And I started, as coaches, we all learn that in the very beginning of our educational training, right? At
Mhm.
least that's what I recall from the coaching program, IPAC, that we both took.
Right.
And I incorporate that a lot with my clients, and I have them do it personally and professionally. So, it's always finding, and I like for them to come up with their own core values,
Mhm.
not from a list, because I want them to be creative.
Yeah, I agree. Because we all know the checkoff list where it's like this, okay, I'll take that. I'll take it. Yeah, it's so much better if you can say, what's really important to me is, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then you're empowering them to find their own values, and then they become creative. Like some of them say, well, can I put this into a sentence or a paragraph? And I said, of course you can. And that makes them more excited and more motivated.
Yeah.
And then I always ask them to do it with their family, with their partner, even their children. And it's creating the values foundation at home, because I don't know if it's taught in school. And then bringing it to the corporate world or to your business.
Mhm.
It's a great motivator. Like I've had team leaders use it for their teams when they feel down, especially during the past few years with all the layoffs going on. Everyone gets scared. Am I next? Or they're sad because it was their colleague who got laid off. And they were a perfectly good performer, but why did they get laid off? So you get that fear mentality. And I believe going back to the value system, it brings back, I guess, safety and security. Maybe I'm stretching it a little bit, but again, the foundation, like to keep people feeling, yeah, I do believe it brings a bit of psychological safety and motivation because you're tapping into your value system to keep you motivated,
Mhm.
to keep meeting those goals that you're meant to be meeting, whether personally or
Yeah, well,
professionally.
when you started talking, I said, you know what? Values can, they just really, if they do nothing else, they tell you, they create a path. It's like, okay, this is where I want to go. And if something is against your values, it's like, nah, that's not the path for me. So yeah, why not safety? Who wants to go on an unsafe path unless you're a daredevil or something like that? But a couple of questions came to mind while you were talking, and it was, okay, is there a difference between professional values and personal values? And if so, what do you do about that?
Uh, I find it can be a little bit different, but they can blend. For example, one client, he loves taking care of his family, providing for them financially. That's a value of his. So
Hmm.
how does it translate into the workplace? He loves taking care of his team,
Okay. All right.
right?
That's logical. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he values his team and he really takes pride in taking care of them, making sure that they're professionally developing, that he's actually listening to them, to their concerns,
Yeah.
uh, which is bringing a bit of empathy into the leadership equation. So I do see the translation. Some are
Yeah.
very simple, like I had one client who was in finance and his value was money.
He's in the right profession then. Okay.
And how it translates for him personally, I guess it's providing again for the family. So
Yeah.
it would be tied to the family value. A lot of them had family as their value.
Which is good. Very
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting because I'm thinking, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you can tell me, go read my book. But I'm thinking, maybe as a first step, if you really wanted to get clarity on what you're doing, it's like establish your own personal values. And then how can you bleed that out into bleed, push that out. That sounds better. Push that out into what you're doing professionally, career-wise, socially, all of that. I think you have to have tell me if I'm wrong, I think you have to have a clear understanding of what your values are first, and then
Yeah,
you can move them along to anything you want, right?
yeah, absolutely. And that goes back to my coaching methodology,
Mm.
right? I work with them to help them become aware. It's really becoming aware. A lot of people have values, but they can't articulate what they are. So the exercises in my book actually help them articulate like their top values. And I always say, yes, you have to know your values first, and then you can work with your family or your team or your organization. Uh, yeah, and it's awareness, it's self-awareness, which is really powerful. And I'd like to touch upon something going a little bit deeper, because I know you're a bit spiritual.
Yeah, a little bit. Little bit.
Little bit. It goes back to awareness and what our innate qualities are. So, for example, maybe I'm asking you a question. What are some of maybe your innate qualities that you have?
Hmm. Yeah, you know what? I always put in, I used to be I'm so embarrassed. I always put fun at the top. It's like that is my value. I want to have fun, and if not, why wouldn't you want to have fun? So fun, honesty, humor, uh I want to keep growing, growth, and I want to, yeah, that's become a problem this year. I'm growing too much because I got too much on my plate, but I'm working on that. But yeah, so interesting. Those would be well, I think they would be my innate qualities. Yeah.
And there's a bit of a correlation too to the values,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, yes.
You mentioned fun, an
Hmm.
innate quality, and it is a value of yours. You love to have fun in
I
what you
do.
do.
And
which is,
with my clients, I try to, yes, coaching is so serious and it changes your life. And oh my gosh, you can become a whole new person, but you can have fun while you're doing it. Why not? And if you're going to do it, let's have some fun. And that's what I love about your book. It's not just, it's so easy to read, first of all, but it has exercises at the end. It's like, oh, wait, you think you're going to go to the next chapter? No, first do these exercises. I want to make sure, Laura says, I want to make sure that you got it. And, which is fantastic. I love that you did that. Yeah. Did you create the exercises yourself?
yes, I did. And it was
Good.
based on my coaching practice over the
Yeah.
past
Yeah.
10 years.
Hmm.
And gathering information and insights from them as well as my own. And
Yeah.
I just felt like if I have exercises, it makes it more like you can implement it in your life. It's
Interactive too. It's like, okay, it's not just this person who wrote a book. It's like, okay, now I'm working with you, which is great. And that's a good folksy feeling. I like it. I like it. So we've talked about coaching. How do you think coaching has helped you? One, because this is not your first book, but is this your first business book?
it's my first nonfiction
Yeah. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
leadership book. But
Yeah.
I have been a co-author in two other leadership books, like writing a chapter.
Right.
One was on the future of work, and the other was more inspirational, like thinking bigger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the others are, yeah, fiction, so novel, poetry.
All that stuff. Yeah. So what made you say, Laura, okay, now is the time I'm going to write a nonfiction about leadership. I'm going to end. What made you think, how did coaching you help you get there? Because I think we all have a book inside us, or at least we think we do. But to actually put it on paper and get it published and a lot of us, including me, get lost in the process and it's like, never mind. What made you do it? What made you keep going?
Well, I guess it's an inner fire.
Hmm.
It was the same with my novel. It's like I had to write it. I wouldn't be happy if I didn't write it. It was just something within me I had to get on paper and write.
Yeah.
And it's the same with this book. Uh, and everyone around me kept saying I have like, nuggets of wisdom that should be shared with the world. Don't keep them to yourself.
Mm.
And it kept being a repeatable, I guess, message.
Hmm.
And and I do put it at the back of the book. So it was one of my friends from college, of all people. So we've been, friends for a long, long time. I was staying at her home to actually go to a literary conference to pitch a new novel I had written. And she suggested, like, why don't you pitch a leadership book based on your coaching experiences? And then she challenged me and she said, come up with an outline of the book. And she was working, doing something. I don't know what she was doing. So in the meantime, like within an hour, I came up with an outline for the book.
Make it sound so easy. I sweated on this book for years now.
And then she came home and I showed her and she was like, oh my God, you just whipped out an outline in an hour.
Wow. Okay. Well, let
So
me ask. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just going to say, so she encouraged me to pitch it. And I did. I pitched both my novel and this leadership book. And the one literary agent liked the leadership book just based on the outline
Hmm.
and chatting with him. And that from literary agent to publishing, it was a 3-year experience.
Mhm.
So it does take a long time
Yeah.
from beginning to end. And then it's still not ended because now I have to bring awareness, right,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
to the book.
Well, hopefully
So
we're doing that today. Yes. But so I have it. You have as a subtitle the principles of transformational leadership. Okay, I'm asking you, like, who's transforming? Is it the leader? Is it the team? Is it all of them together? What was your thought when you were saying, who's transforming in this? Who are you trying to help transform?
well, when I'm working with the individual, it will be their personal transformational experience.
Okay.
And I worked with, many individuals, and they just said, Laura, they started calling me the transformative leadership coach.
Cool.
And they do have to put in the work, right? They're very motivated and putting in the work. So they become transformed, but as they become transformed, they pay it forward to their team.
Ah, okay.
So the team
Trickle
benefits.
down. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, trickle down, cascading down, even across teams,
Hmm.
even upward leadership. I just had a client who told me that her own boss, she's been on a 2-year journey with me in coaching. And she transformed from wanting to stay in her position for the rest of her life.
I don't think the boss is going to be happy about that, but yes, go ahead.
Yeah, and then finally she realized she has it in her to be promoted and to keep growing. And now she wants to grow and be part of the senior leadership.
Look at that. So they
And
went
that,
full circle. Yeah.
yeah, full circle. And now she's motivating her own boss, and her own boss is saying, I'm inspired by you. And then her team is inspired by her because as a result, of course, of her wanting to becoming promoted, she has the leadership succession, right,
Mhm.
to replace her when she gets promoted. So it's definitely beneficial for everybody.
Everybody's okay. So yeah, it's yeah. I don't think it would have the business appeal if you just went if it was just called "Let's Transform," you know. So yeah, so I like that you did that. And leadership can be anything, up, down, all around, however that works. Yeah. So good. That was
Yeah,
good subtitle.
absolutely.
Yeah. So let me ask you then, what happens when cultures and values clash? And
Yeah.
what is, as a professional coach and as a global coach, and I know you've dealt with this, what happens? Whose values take priority? How do they work it out?
I have a few stories which are very interesting and curious at the same
Cool.
time. One was in Europe. I was working with a senior executive, and he told me a story. They're actually supposed to be, a company focused on sustainability.
Mm.
So a young man who had just been hired working there for about a year marches into his office and says, if you don't walk the talk of sustainability, I'm quitting.
Whoa. Okay, that was a challenge.
Yeah, and it really surprised him. He said, first of all, the younger generation does really care about sustainability, the planet, uh, very much so. And the company does abide by a lot of, you know, sustainable practices, but not enough for this young man. And it was a huge wake-up call at senior leadership to say, if we want to keep our younger workforce, we've got to step up and do a better job.
Mm.
And or we're going to see attrition with our younger workforce. They are just going to quit because they don't care. They want to go with that. Well, they do care, but they want to go with a company that's aligned with their values.
The problem is they do care, you're right. And our companies are old and it's like money, profit. And that's not speaking to Gen Z or whatever initial they are now. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah, I
speaking
think
to the
it's the
younger.
Gen Zs,
Yeah, yeah.
which I find fascinating. And then another example was uh, it was a client again in Europe, and he worked for a company that put people first.
Mm.
And he heard rumors that management was going to change it or senior leadership to performance first. And he said, if they change it to performance first, I'm out.
Mm.
Because he really valued people first. And I think really that's where humanocracy comes in, valuing people, putting people first, treating them with dignity and respect. And that needs to be a part of our models, our structures, because we can't keep treating people like widgets. And, you
Mm.
know, the let's fired 10% of our workforce, and that could be 40,000 people. Instead of like reskilling them or upskilling them or finding maybe a better team that they're better suited for. I mean, for
Yeah.
some, it might be a blessing in disguise to find another company. Uh, but, and then there was another example. I'm trying to think like a lot of it had to do with sustainability.
Really? Well, that's good to hear. That is really, especially as I don't know, you're down there cold and I'm up here in New York City freezing. And we like the planet to sort of hang in there with us. But yeah, so that's so good to hear that people are interested in sustainability. I think those
Yeah.
of us that are my age, it's like we're interested, but it's like, what do you do? How do you do so good? It's good that there are younger folks out there doing something.
Yeah. And the third example I had actually was in New York City.
Hmm.
Um, it was a young man and he was a trader, but he felt like there was a like an unethical trading practice going on. He mentioned it to the leader of the practice. Leader of the practice said, "I'm sorry, but we have to meet our goals, our numbers, our profits."
Mm.
And he resigned.
Ah.
So again, it does appear to be the younger generation, like in their 20s and 30s. And if that's Gen Z, I always get those confused as
Me
well.
too. Me too.
But it was a value of his to be very, in aligned with his ethics.
Mm.
And he felt like this was unethical trading. He didn't want to be a part of it, and he left.
Wow, so you're out there doing some cool stuff, which is good. And it's like sometimes it does you do have to take it to that step. It's like, okay, if uh, not good for me, again, knowing your core values helps because it's like, oh, this is not going to work for me. So cool. I'm gonna ask you because I know the answer to my question, to the question. What's your favorite chapter in this book?
Oh, wow. Hey, probably mindful communication,
Yeah, yeah, okay.
because
Tell me
I've written
why.
about it a
Yeah.
couple of times.
Mm.
And again, I think that's a big breakdown in society is communications.
Mm.
Like I just had a
Especially
recent
now with
experience.
everybody looking at their phone and their computer, nobody knows how to communicate anymore. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, from that perspective too.
Yeah.
So I like to bring in mindfulness because I like the Buddhist philosophy of being present in the now, not being distracted by your cell phone, your computer, your pings and
Exactly.
dings
Yeah.
and
All that stuff. Yeah.
yeah, being present in the moment, really listening to the other person, uh, being empathetic toward their point of view. You don't always have to agree. You can agree to disagree.
Mhm.
And it just opens up diversity of thought. Uh, if we understand the other person's point of view, it just makes everything a little bit more harmonious and more collaborative, cooperative versus fighting with each other or creating division.
Mhm.
So it's communicating with the intention of being collaborative, cooperative, finding the solutions
Mhm.
together in the best way possible.
Especially in this time, this day and age, I sound like my grandma, in this day and age of tribalism, it's like, oh, come on, we can all get along. As Rodney King said, we can all get along. Why can't we? Yeah, I think that's why I think your book is so timely. It's so needed, and there may be people who don't realize it's needed, but I think if they take a little read and get into some of the chapters, they're going to go, why wouldn't this work better than what I'm doing? So my favorite is the principles of awareness, and it's like, oh, this is cool. It's like because you think, sure, I'm aware. What does that mean? No, so that was kind of my favorite. It's like and so read the book and you'll figure out which chapter is your favorite. But there's just little pearls of wisdom throughout, and simplistic. It's not like you're I'm reading something now where they're into the brain and the parts of the brain and what's doing. So just tell me. I don't want to know what the brain does. Just tell me what you want me to do, and I'll see if it'll work for me. But this is a little bit of both. This is kind of proven. This is, you've got your case samples there that you've done, and your wisdom and your coaching experience. You've wrapped it all up in this very pretty pink and yellow book. Tell us.
Yeah, I love the colors. When
I
they
do
showed me the
too. I'm sure on the are there libraries anymore? But I think there are. If there are libraries, I'm sure this stands out on the business shelves. It's like, whoa, what is this? So I think you were wise in doing that. Just brighten it up again. You can have fun with it. Why not? Why not?
yeah.
Where can we find this little baby? Where is
Well,
this
you can
at?
find it at Amazon, Barnes and Nobles,
Hmm,
um, Books a Million, bookshop. You can get it at your local bookshop. You can just ask them to order it for you.
okay.
Uh, so it can be found all over the world.
Yeah,
Uh,
really? Okay. Any
yeah.
thoughts of translating it into another language?
Yeah, I would love that. An idea has come up to translate it maybe first into Spanish.
Oh, I would thought you would say Paris, but okay. You're right. Spanish would be more
Bigger market.
universal. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You have all
Ah,
of what, South America,
yeah, yeah. And
Mexico.
America. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah, in
us.
America, half of
Yeah.
America. Yeah,
So that
speak
that could be,
Spanish.
oh, that's exciting. Yeah. I just read an article where the paper book back is dying. Nobody's
Oh,
buying that anymore.
interesting.
Yeah, and I think it was the New York Times. And it's like just because there are digital books and ebooks and Kindles and all of that. But I
Hmm.
think and there's a value. There's a value to a book with a cover and I think especially if it's in your business collection, you don't want to look at you don't want to look at your phone and go, oh wait, let me look that book up. That's not how you picture a leader. So yeah. So tell me something. We got like less than a minute left. How can people find you if they need some executive coaching there or some global strategy or whatever? Where are you at?
Yeah, well, they can go to laurathompson.world.
Okay.
So
Oh,
that
okay. You're not playing around. I'm global. All right. World. All right.
yeah, and LinkedIn. Are you going to put any links below your?
Yeah, yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. Yeah.
Okay, I think that would be easier. If
Okay. Your LinkedIn. Yeah. Okay, sure.
Yeah, LinkedIn and my website, and they can learn a lot more about me on my website, and it's LauraThompson
A nice
world.
simple name. Good, good. So, Laura, it has been delightful. I'm so glad you wrote this book, and I'm so glad you shared it with me. And I'm gonna when you get when not when you get it translated into Spanish, when you get your next one on, let's do it again. Okay.
Yeah, I would love it. And thank you for having me, Lori. And again, so lovely to see you.
Yes, always fun. And take care.